is also my dream magkaroon ng professional league ang table tennis to keep the college graduate students to continue pursue their dream
Yeah.
in table tennis.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sports Season podcast, where we get to know the sports that you know about and those that you should know about. Today, our guest for today is the president of the Philippine Table Tennis Federation, as well as the head of the Ateneo Table Tennis Program and a former table tennis national team player, one of my former coaches, Coach Ting Ledesma. Coach Ting, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Jigo, for inviting me here.
So, Coach, we've been in quarantine. We've been on lockdown for a while. How have you been up to with, personally and with regards to the Table Tennis Federation?
Well, sa umpisa, medyo it's very hard for all of us dealing with this pandemic. We stopped almost 4 to 5 months. No table tennis, only stay at home, and waiting for our government to announce when or when we can play table tennis again. But apparently, when the IATF allowed tennis or racket sport to play, then we start going out in our house and look for table tennis venue, but only private venue,
Mm.
like one table in some places in Makati, and of course the semicon in Pasig City sa Marcos Highway, no? So doon na lang, doon kami nakakapaglaro. But of course, very cautious kami sa mga health protocols
Mm.
to avoid tamaan tayo ng sakit, no? So slowly bumabalik-balik kami, and now medyo maganda na ngayon ang situation at our national team naman na nakapag-start na rin sa
Mm.
wakas. Yun.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to talk about that, but we'll go into that a little later. I wanted to ask then, we've seen both abroad and recently, like with the PBA, for example, nagkaka-bubble tournaments, nagkaka-bubble seasons na sila. Have you guys ever thought of having something like that, na parang bubble table tennis tournament, or is it strictly for the Olympic training pa lang?
Well, sa International Table Tennis Federation, they are starting the bubble tournament, no? International. But well, because in our country, wala naman tayong budget na ganun. So
Mm.
it's hard for us to do some kind of bubble tournaments. But there are some table tennis club now in the provinces that they conduct tournaments, but only invitational,
Mm.
limited participants lang. So it's safe, and with social distancing in the table tennis
Yeah.
area. So basta hindi lang po siya open for all. Kumbaga invitational lang. I-selected lang yung mga maglalaro. Yun, yung ganun lang.
Okay. So now, Coach, I wanted to first we'll get to know a little bit more about you and yung career mo, both as a player and as a manager or as the head of the Ateneo Table Tennis and the Philippine Table Tennis. But first, I wanted to start off. A lot of people on Facebook, for example, marami kang friends obviously that are into table tennis. I wanted to start by asking, saan po nanggaling yung name na Hotponger? Kasi nga, pag hinanap ka naman sa Facebook, hanapin yung Ting Ledesma, for example, di ba? Pero yung account mo, Hotponger Ledesma. So I just wanted to start light and ask, where did that come from?
Yung of course yung ponger is ano ito, table tennis yun, no? Ping pong player, ping ponger
Mm.
kumbaga. It's very ano na po yung ping ponger kumbaga uh, parang ano na siya, lagi na siyang mini-mention. So sa akin is yung dinagdagan ko lang ng Hotponger para lang sa gano'n, mainit na ponger, kumbaga.
Mm.
Yung mga hindi tayo hihinto sa paglalaro ng table tennis, yan yung isang nilagay ko. Kaya ano siya, unique and also may pagka oldies ang dating, mga gano'n.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, huge. So now, glad that you mentioned that. We both know that. Actually, we all know that there's two names to table tennis. It's either table tennis or ping pong. I wanted to ask, what do you prefer, or what do you think is more accurate or more proper to call the sport?
In-explain na yan ng International Table Tennis Federation, between two, no? Table tennis and ping pong. So yung ping pong, the ITTF explained that it is a brand name, not specific na table tennis, ganon. So yung table tennis po, yun yung talagang uh, tawag sa ating sport na to. So yun, ang ping pong daw ay brand daw yun. But China call it ping pong. Yun, China, other Chinese, Asian, no? Ping pong ang tawag nila. But ITTF already explained. So we call it table tennis.
Okay. Okay. What Going back to the start, what made you first get into the sport of table tennis?
Oh, it's way back may kabataan ko pa yun, no? Nag-aaral po ako ng nag-aaral pa ako ng elementary noon. Then I saw my uncle is playing table tennis, no? We go to they invite us to their house. Then marami siyang pinakitang mga racket sa akin. Then he just gave me one penhold racket. Kasi
Mm.
penhold din si uncle, no? Pero namayapa na yung uncle ko at siya yung magaling na mag-table tennis at that time. Nakapagpanood din ako sa laro niya. Wow, sobrang hanga ako sa paglalaro niya. Then he teach me the basic form, like how we gonna control the ball. Ginalingan ko yun mga siguro 1 week lang. Yung ball bounce, ball bounce sa racket lang. Siguro sa isang linggo pa lang, libo na yung nagagawa ko, hindi ko na nalalagay. Then wall. Sa wall naman,
Mm.
practice ko na yan. Talagang mga linggo pa lang o buwan pa lang, sobrang galing ko na dun. Then I started to play uh, in our school. Yun, naglalaro na ako doon. Then I find friends. Kasi wala akong masyadong friends nung bata pa ako eh. Then
Mm.
doon ko nakita yung mga friends ko. So naramdaman ko na ang table tennis is not only sport but also camaraderie, no? Nakakakilala ka ng mga friends and yung mga friends mo na nakikilala, kita ko yung matitino talaga, no? Talagang they are into sport,
Mm.
not like not like other na medyo kung ano nung mga bisyo, no? So I'm happy na dito ako na involved sa sport nung kabataan ako. Then I train siguro mga 2 years lang, then I got champion na sa mga junior events ko. In Iloilo na. Kung lumipat na
Yeah.
kasi kami ng Iloilo City. Then I played so many players there compared to in Manila, no? So mas maraming players sa probinsya at wala din talagang masasabi kong uh, um, mga kalaban at that time na ibang bisyo na mapasukan, like unlike nowadays, no, yung internet pa lang grabe na, no, yung mga games pa lang sobrang terrible na. Panahon namin walang ganun eh. So every day talaga is it's time to play table tennis. It's time to study. Then it's a very simple lang life dati. Unlike now,
Mm.
it's so complicated, so many distraction para sa isang tao, no? Na para mag-focus sa isang bagay. That's
Mm.
then I slowly became the number one in the Iloilo City for 2 years, ganoon. Then I compete in Manila to play
Mm.
to become a national team. Of course, I failed the first time. First time I failed agad. No, second time I failed again. Third time I failed again. But my fourth time I succeed. Yan, ganun. So I become national team 1993, first time yan. Then I go to SEA Games 1993 in Singapore. Yun, hanggang sa huminto din ako sa pagte-table tennis dahil po sa
Mm.
I can see na talagang there's no support from the government at that time, no? And I feel bad about that. I cannot uh, kumbaga hindi ko kayang buhayin ng pamilya ko dahil sa
Mm.
paglalaro ng table tennis. So I have to stop. And there's no family in our family to support me. So I have to support myself. So that's why I stopped table tennis after I go to SEA Games in Singapore. Then I go to work, mag-work na lang ako. Then I go to when nagkaroon na ako ng business, then I come back to table tennis again. Kumbaga sa babalik ka pa din eh. Yung mga, yun ang first love ko talaga yung table tennis. Eh. Hindi talaga babae yung first love. Kumbaga, table tennis talaga yung first love ko. Kaya binalikan ko pa din siya. And I got number 2 in the Philippines again, 1995. Oh, 1995, no? Tapos nag-stop na naman ako ng 1999. Ay, 1998, sorry. 1998, nag-stop na naman ako. Then I go focus again sa business. Kasi nga, medyo hindi gumanda yung business kasi nga sa ka-focus ko sa table tennis na naman. Kasi yung ano ko, mindset ko is kapag nag-focus kasi ako sa isang bagay, I will do my best. Yun ang lagi kong ginagawa. As much as possible, kung pwede lang mag number one ako, magna number one dapat ako. Ganun eh, ganun. So I go to business again. Then I actually ayoko na sanang bumalik, no? But when my son said that he want to play table tennis, that's the time na, oh my goodness, kailangan ko bumalik sa table tennis. Yun na yung start. That is 2007 yata. 2007. Yung anak ko 13 years old na din. Then
Mm.
start na ako nagturo sa kanya. Tuloy-tuloy na yan hanggang ngayon. Yan.
So, so coach, I always ask this to all my guests. Pero we know naman na parang basketball, definitely the biggest sport, the most popular sport here in the country. So I wanted to ask parang, why were you not swayed, or like why did you stick with table tennis even if basketball is, I'm sure even when you were younger it was very popular and everyone was playing it. So parang what makes you stick to table tennis over um not just basketball but any other sport?
Oh, actually yung mas nauna yung matuto ako sa basketball ko kasi kahit saan pwede mag-basketball eh, no? Nung bata pa tayo lalo na dito sa ating bansa, number one sport 'yan. So I can say na magaling ako mag-basketball nung bata pa ako. Siyempre, kaya lang nung nakikita ko yung height ko, walang walang future yung height ko eh, no? O sabi ko, hindi talaga ako gagaling dito kahit na ang bilis-bilis ko pag kumilos, wala ding kwenta tong bilis ko. So, nung nakita ko yung table tennis, yung inintroduce ng uncle ko sa akin table tennis, then I start to learn. Then this is what I can see na ito yung talagang gusto ko. Ito talaga. So, then as I train every day, naglalaro ako, nakikita ko na medyo maganda mabilis yung improvement ko. Then, lalo na nung nag-champion na ako yung junior sa buong Iloilo, that's the time na, my goodness, talaga ito yung gusto ko. Dito talaga
Mm.
ako mag-excel. And my dream is to become a national team. Yan. And next is I want to go to international event and carry our flag. Yan. And then they bring bring glory to our country. Yun yung mga dream ko talaga. So lahat yung nagawa ko naman. Yun nga lang talagang is nakuha mo na rin lahat ng pangarap mo. Ngunit kapag ikaw ay kulang sa suporta,
Mm.
bibitaw at bibitaw ka din. Yun talaga yung problema dito. Sa akin is uh, it's a experience, no? Very good experience din sa akin. Siguro ito yung gusto ng Diyos, no? Na iparamdam sa akin at ipa kita sa akin na this is time na andito na ako at nakaupo na ako as the President of Philippine Table Tennis Federation. Kailangan yung pinagdaanan ko ay huwag nilang mapagdaanan. Yun ang mga kailangan kong gawin. At as much as possible, ay mabigyan ng magandang uh, mga pangangailangan nila sa loob ng training, hindi lang sa loob ng training, pati sa personal life nila as much as possible, matouch mo sila.
Mm.
Kasi yun din yung magiging uh, hadlang sa pag-improve nila sa table tennis. Kasi doon ako doon ako nag-stop eh. Kasi when I see that there's no future, I have to stop. Then I stop immediately, as in immediately. Kumbaga hindi slowly, immediately. Kasi hindi ko ma-stop ng dahan-dahan dahil sobrang mahal ko siya eh, no? Kailangan ko siya stop immediately para hindi ko na siya maalala dapat. Kailangan hindi ko siya maalala. Yung mga ganon, no? Yun yung medyo masyadong masakit pero importante is future. Everyone should think about your future. Kaya kailangan if you have to sacrifice in my life, almost always I'm sacrificing. So sanay na ako diyan at kaya kumbaga sa lumaki ka ng tinatakot ka, binubuli ka ba? Kaya wala na eh. Hindi mo na medyo manhid na tayo diyan. Kaya hindi na tayo natatakot sa mga kahit sino pang manakot sa atin. Yung mga ganun. Ayan.
Yes, coach. Actually, I wanted to. We'll discuss that also later because I noticed, not just with table tennis but a lot of sports, the national team players are very young for the most part. Parang most of them are really coming out of college, and I feel like that's a big factor. Is aside from basketball, syempre may pro league na yung mga yun. So they're older talaga because they're being supported. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a little. Um, Going back to you're telling us about how you started. I always find it interesting to know parang why you end up using what sorry, you were a penhold player. So I always find it interesting parang the more common one is shake hand, but I noticed that penhold has been gaining a lot of traction. So was it really just because yun yung una mong na-try? Or did you get to try shake hand and you really preferred penhold? Or what is the story with that?
Ano, usually is talagang ang totoo is yun talaga yung una kong raketa, penhold. So, hindi na ako nag-shift. I never try to
Okay.
shake hand anymore. Then, kasi nasa mindset ko is I have to master one stroke lang. I cannot master two or three in the same time, no? At kaya naniniwala ako dito ako nag-umpisa, dito rin ako hihinto or dito ako gagaling for sure, dito lang.
Mm.
Yan. So that's why when my son is also a penhold, so I just teach him a new model ng
Yeah.
penhold. There's a RPB already, no. So and he performed very well, no. Compared to me, no, mas magaling siya. Eh, mo 3 times MVP
Mm-hmm.
sa
The
UAAP
UAP.
season niya, di ba, no? So I salute my son, okay? He's way better than me. All All
Okay.
right.
So coach, so you've been playing for a long time, and you just mentioned nga that your son has been playing. I want is do you notice any parang change or difference in the style of play over the years you've been playing? Because I'll use basketball as an example again. Over the past years, parang with Steph Curry, parang mas maraming tumitira ng tres, ganun. Is there that kind of change in table tennis that you've noticed over since you were a player, and now that you're supervising a lot and your son even played?
Yeah, marami talagang changes ang table tennis compare sa panahon namin, no? Of course, yung score pa lang, dati 21 pa yan, 1 to
Mm,
21. Ngayon, naging 11 na siya. Then yung mga table dati uh, is only 16 millimeter lang, no? Ngayon naging 25 millimeter na and laminated pa yung lamesa. Mas
mm,
mataas na yung bounce. So yung bola din dati celluloid ball ginawa na siyang celluloid and also 38 millimeter. Naging 40 plus na siya ngayon, plastic na siya. So marami talagang changes at yung bola talaga bumagal siya. Kung dati you can hit the ball so hard that opponent cannot return easily, sobrang very hard talaga. And now hindi na siya. Hindi siya ganoon na no, kahit lakasan mo pa, very easy lang sa opponent maibalik sa iyo ngayon. Basta maganda lang yung contact. There's a technique, no? May technique
mm.
na diyan. And ITTF is spreading and this by sending the coaches, no, sending the coaches to teach all in the world, no, paano maging magaling sa table tennis. Yun yung mga importante
Yeah.
na
So okay. In addition to that, do you over the years, do you think that table tennis has gotten more popular or bigger in the country in the Philippines?
uh, well, sad to say, no, pero this is true, no. We got the first table tennis Olympian,
Mm,
si Ian Lariba.
yes.
That's the time na boom. That's the time na table tennis boom in the Philippines. And I don't expect the uh, the continue interview for Ian Lariba, no? So hindi ko sobrang saya ko that time na nakikita ko na this is my dream. I can see it, no? But the sad thing is yung nagkasakit si Ian naman.
Mm.
Yun ang down. Yun ang pinaka down na nangyari is nagkasakit siya. Then uh, nakasubaybay yung mga media sa kanya hanggang sa namayapa si Ian. That is the ano that is the very sobrang sobrang masasabi kong napapansin yung table tennis ng bansa natin sa
Mm.
bansa natin, no? Sobra. And yun din yung katapusan ng ating uh, hero ng ating table tennis na si Ian Lariba. Sobrang sobrang nakakalungkot lang. Pero yung mga nagawa niya, wala na sigurong tatalo sa kanya. I'm just hoping na uh, may sumunod sa yapa niya na ma-achieve yung second Olympian ng
Yeah.
Philippine Table Tennis. Yan lang naman yung mga pangarap ko na mangyari. Kaya I keep on going na doing my goal and dream, no, para sa table tennis. Yan.
Now, Coach Singh, but you've gone. You, I know one of the big things that you do with, as the president of PTTF is you go to a lot of the table tennis clubs all around the country. Have you seen? Have you noticed? I don't know, an increase. Have there been more clubs opening over the past years? And do you think that that will be really good for Philippine table tennis?
Talagang ano siya, I can say na dumami yung players. Yung players sobrang dami na siya ngayon compared nung panahon na hindi pa ako presidente. Kasi
Mm,
yun yung pinaka-importante na kailangan ko ma-achieve eh. Yung dumami ang population. That is my goal. Also, may nakasulat yan sa mga ano namin, goal namin. Kailangan lumaki ang population ng table tennis enthusiasts and mga players na at support dapat natin yung mga kabataan, yung mga bata. Pinaka-importante yan. At protect and support uh, the regional president no ng ating Philippine Table Tennis no. Kailangan suportado silang lahat. At yung mga programa dapat kinakalat namin. And importante din na paramihin not only know how to play table tennis but in technical aspect like umpiring and coaching. So yun ang
mm,
pinaka-importante. Mas madami sila, mas marami silang maalagaan na kabataan. So the population should be bigger. And sa Facebook pa lang, sa social media, dati is for 20,000 lang yung mga na nakikita kong population ng buong Pilipinas. Now is almost 80,000 na siya.
mm,
Mga ano na, sobrang bilis ng angat, no? Na yung Table Tennis Club naman ay kumbaga sa ano, is dumadami din siya dahil medyo mahirap yung bumiyahe mga bata dahil sa layo, no? So dumadami
mm,
din sila. Ang importante na lang is my future plan dahil mostly of them is cannot sustain the expenses.
mm,
That is the problem. So sometimes hindi sila tumatagal, they close it again. They close it again, then open again. So the important thing is I have to give them a livelihood, no, like business for them to sustain their club, table tennis club. Yun lang naman, yung plano.
mm,
This is 2021 plan. Yan.
mm. Okay. So before we go into your being president of the PTTF, I wanted to go into your being your what's that, your position as head of Ateneo Table Tennis kasi din naman tayo nagkakilala. So I know that PTTF was first. Tama po ba? You were in PTTF before you were in Ateneo.
Yes po.
So what?
Presidente. Una-una.
Yes, po. So what led you to deciding to go to take the Ateneo position? Adding to the fact na rival school nga naman yung anak niyo po.
Sa akin, ano well, yung Secretary General ng PTTF, si Pong Ducanes,
Mm,
ay close kasi siya kay Boss Sir M, no? ng UAO, no? So, uh, ang sabi niya sa akin, if I would like to become the program head ng Ateneo. So, actually, hindi ko alam kung ano yung trabaho ng program head ng Ateneo. Kasi hindi ako nag-work ng ganun, no? Hindi kasi it's either athlete ako or businessman ako. Dalawa lang eh. Pero yung pagiging coach, ang coach, kino-coach ko lang yung anak ko lang, no?
mm,
Yeah, so I said na hindi ko yata kaya yan. Pero kapag pag kailangan ng tulong, ang problema kasi sa akin is, nakikita ko is, kung sino na kailangan ng tulong, tutulong tayo, no? Ayun lang
mm,
naman. Sabi ni Secgen Pong Ducanes, kailangan ng tulong ang Ateneo Table Tennis Team. Uh, they need someone na can lift the Ateneo team kasi nga never nga sila nanalo, ganun. Although nanalo naman, but matagal na yun, ganun.
mm,
So, sa akin naman, saan ba nanggaling yung PTTF? Di ba talunan? Panahon nung umupo ako. Well, never kami nanalo eh. Never kami
mm,
nanalo. Sabi ko, yun nga nagawa kong maging champion yung PTTF sa mga Southeast Asia eh. Bakit di ko kaya? Mga junior, nagagawa kong mag-champion eh. ano pa yung Ateneo, di mas madali na para sa akin yun, di ba?
Mm-mm.
Sa akin is ganun eh, no? Sige, sabi ko, okay, I'll accept that. Sabi ko na lang. And there's no way to go naman yung Ateneo. But up, di ba? Ganun lang eh. Paakyat talaga ang Ateneo dahil galing sa ilalim eh. Hindi naman galing sa
Mm-mm.
gitna, di ba? O galing sa champion. But galing tayo sa ilalim. I'm sure walang pupuntahan yun kundi up. Yun ang mindset ko. And yun nga lang, medyo may mga protocols tayo sinusunod sa athletics office ng Ateneo na I cannot do easily all I want,
Yeah.
no? Kasi kung iisipin kung paano kung maging champion ng Ateneo, talagang kaya kong gawin kaagad 'yon, no? Mabilis. Kaya lang nga may protocols eh, and I have to follow that protocols.
Mm.
So slowly lang lahat, slowly lang. Yeah.
So coach, kunwari pag UAAP na, do you ever struggle na parang pag for example Ateneo player tapos national team player yung kalaban? Is it ever like parang sino bang kakampihan ko dito or anything like that?
Eh, kasi kung national team at siya ang kalaban, we represent Ateneo eh. Magkaiba na yun
Mm.
eh. Iba na yun pag UAAP. So, saan ako, doon ako kakampi. Wala nang ganun na kakampihan ko pa yung national team din. Kasi it's very clear naman na program head ako na Ateneo. So, magkakaroon lang ng problem when in recruiting lang. Recruit lang.
Ah,
Dating sa laban, wala na. Wala na. Kasi
mm.
yun din naman ang tuturo sa mga national team eh. Like ranking, di ba? They have the ranking inside the PTTF.
Mm.
Kaibigan kayo. Nagte-training kayo together, but in ranking, walang kaibigan. Walang kaibigan. Dead. Kung dead, kakatayin mo talaga yan. Ganun yun. Kumbaga, wala kang papatawarin. Wala kang kaibigan. After the game, yan, kaibigan kayo.
Okay, coach. So moving on to the PTTF. I correct me if I'm wrong, but not all sports federations have a former player. Minsan hindi naman siya former player na nagiging president
Mm.
ng sports federation. So being a former, national team player and with table tennis being a sport na parang you can still play at a high level even when you're older. Kasi parang kunwari sa basketball, pag mga 50s ka na, medyo mahihirapan ka na maglaro ng high level. But as we've seen with, I think si Richard Gonzalez, for example, he's um, not so young anymore, but he's playing extremely at a high level. He's still representing the Philippines. But for you, how does that help? Do you think that you have, hindi naman an edge, but what advantages do you think being a former national team player brings to your position as president?
Um, so far, hindi naman siya masyadong malaking factor, no? Yung pagiging former national team na naging presidente, hindi siya masyadong malaking factor dito. It's more on uh, paano ka gumawa ng programs para sa as a whole, no?
Mm.
Sa akin is since in my age nakakalaro para kaya ko pa rin makipaglaro sa mga elite players. I just doing my best na uh, to to give them a good fight yung mga national team para nang sa ganun eh ma-add lang yung mga technique na kaya kong i-share sa kanila. Yan lang sa akin ha. So uh, every time na nakakapaglaro ako sa kanila, I can contribute to them
Mm.
so much, no? And I will try my best na to give them a good fight every time I play with them. I will never take it easy. Hindi ko sila kumbaga gusto ko ma-improve sila. Yun ang importante. And when they saw me playing with them, makikita mo mahihiya talaga sila eh. Lalo na pag natatalo sila sa akin, hindi
Mm.
sila pwede matalo sa akin. Dahil kapag natalo sila sa akin, pwede ko na sabihin palitan kita dyan. Huwag ka na,
Ah,
umalis ka. Di ba? Mga ganon. Kaya hindi sila pwede matalo sa akin. And it will add shame to themselves. Ganon
Mm.
yun. So, I can say na my advantage is uh, they need to double time themselves every day in their
Mm.
training. Yan.
Kasi nga kung parang alam mo yung standard na kailangan as opposed to kung hindi ka familiar with the sport na. Okay.
Right.
So what's this? I wanted to know din parang with when you look at other team sports, for example, yung selection ng team is may pool sila like with basketball or volleyball, they get players from the PBA, from the PBL, tapos yung coaches yung pipili from there. But I was always curious with how the selection for national team is for table tennis. Tama bang may certain tournaments that they have to win before they're considered, or is it solely ranking, or does does the coach have free choice of who to pick?
Um, ah kasi itong ginawa namin, uh, traditionally, ginagawa lang namin sa national selection is sinasabay namin sa Philippine National Games. So,
Okay.
ng Philippine Sports Commission. Well, kasi sa sumasali, open ng entry, and also Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao players will come, will join. So that's why doon ko nilalagay yung yung national selection, and it's just a 3 days national selection. That is before, ah.
Yeah.
But last time, nagkaroon ng problem kami sa Philippine National Games with regards to PSC guidelines. They told us that don't use PSC, Philippine National Games, as our national selection. Medyo nagulat ako doon kasi decades na po namin ginagawa yun,
Mm.
no? Bakit ngayon lang this administration of Philippine Sports Commission told us na we cannot do that? Uh, so parang lumalabas sa hindi pwede, no? Hindi pwede.
Mm.
So hindi naman, kumbaga napasaya pa ako lalo dun eh dahil sabi ko, wala naman tatalo sa kahit na kahit anong sabihin ng Philippine Sports Commission. Hindi niya alam kung ano ang mga ah, paano mag-improve ang bawat NSA kasi ang NSA lang ang nakakaalam paano improve ang sarili niya. Hindi alam ng
Mm.
PSU. So that's why that's the start na ginawa ko is I started Philippine Super League. Yan. Nationwide. So,
Mm.
pupuntang ang PTTF officials to your place, then conduct the Philippine Super League in Tacloban, in Baybay, Leyte, lahat ng lugar yun. And we made it uh, 50 plus Super League nationwide.
Mm.
Lahat ng top 1 and top 2 players, champion and second place, will have a chance to compete in the national selection.
Okay.
Yan, ginawa ko 'yon, no? Hindi mo pwedeng isang lugar pwedeng gumawa ng ng Super League 5 times. It's okay, it's open. Basta pili lang, basta yung top 2 can come to Manila. No, that
Mm.
is the time 2019. Nagkaroon tayo ng national selection in Batangas. 1 week selection. 1 week selection. Lahat ng winners, top 2 doon, galing sa probinsya, nag-in-house sa Batangas. Then, nag-national selection doon ng 1 week. Everyday round robin. Bracketing, may 10 players. Everyday naglalaro ang player ng 9 games a day. Ganun kalupit. So, hanggang sa natanggal sa sala and nakuha namin yung 5 women's and 5 men's. This is the best national selection ever I have done. It is kinopya namin sa China and Korea national selection.
Okay. So coach, how you mentioned earlier that the Olympic Olympic qualifier preparations are ongoing now. So how what's the system, or what are they doing? What's the team doing at the moment to prepare for the game?
sa ngayon is last year November, nag-bubble training na sila. Yun talaga yung pinaka-important kasi hindi pwede mag-training no. The IATF rules guidelines is magkaroon ng bubble training ang national
Mm.
team. So I put them in Marcos Highway, Pasig City in Semicon building. Ay boss Ryan Enriquez, no? NYC chairman natin. So doon naka-dorm po, naka-bubble training ang national team. Then every day nagte-training sila doon. Three time uh, 3 times a day. Morning, afternoon, morning 3 hours, afternoon 3 hours, 2 hours sa gabi. No?
Mm.
So it's possible mga 8 hours a day
Yeah.
nagte-training po sila doon. Then we provide food and everything to them. Ganun. So that's how they train, no? Now every day yan. Kumbaga
Yeah.
pahinga nila is Sunday. Sunday lang ang pahinga nila. Yeah.
8 hours, coach. Parang tayo lang sa Ateneo dati.
Yeah, yeah.
Joke lang. Okay. So coach, I mentioned that we'll discuss this part also. Our national team members are very young. Um, with the exception, of course, si Richard Gonzalez, for example. So I wanted to know, why do you think that that most of the national team players are young, or even nung time ni Yan Lariba, parang fresh out of college pa lang yung mga players as opposed to with a lot of different. If you look at the Olympic athletes of other countries, they're a little older in terms of age. So I wanted to know, why do you think that that's the trend recently? But also, why do you think Richard Gonzalez is able to become a mainstay in the team, even with how the influx of the youth has been over the years?
Unahin ko lang muna si Richard Gonzalez, no? Kasi si Richard Gonzalez is very old na, no? Actually, mas matanda pa sa akin. Sikreto lang, ha? So, kasi si Richard Gonzalez, he has a different style, no? He is a chopper and a unique chopper style. Kumbaga
Mm.
sa yung kung gagayahin mo siya, mahirap talaga. Even a chopper, gagayahin si Richard as a chopper is different. It's very hard, no? Kaya yung style ni Richard, hindi lalaos kaagad. Hindi lalaos kaagad, no? Uh, the rest, if you're attacker or you're a blocker, close table blocker, yun talagang hindi po pwede yung matanda doon. Kasi yung speed, yung accuracy, yun talagang nasa-subside ka pa habang tumatanda ka. Kaya ang sa akin is si Richard can remain as a national team as long as he want, no? Lalo na yung style niya hindi lumalaos
Mm.
hanggang sa ngayon unless he said to me that I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
unless he said he will told me that he don't want to play anymore. But I'm sure that he's still capable. Uh, even though this year SEA Games kasi nga sa style of play niya,
Mm.
not because na old na siya, no, but because of his style of play. The rest, it should be young players kasi the the younger you start and reach the elite style of play, it's better than old that you reach a elite style of play. It's very simple, no? China, Korea is still very same. Lahat sila puro mga bata yung national team nila. Ang mga old players na nag-Olympic champion pa yan, pero maalis din pa rin sila sa national team.
Mm.
Kasi nga, bata talaga mas mabilis. Yun lang naman, mas mabilis ang bata. Kaya mas maganda bata ang maging national team.
Because coach, you mentioned then earlier how you had to stop playing, for example, kasi you had to support your family, and kasi nga wala masyadong support for table tennis players at the time. Do you think that um if um leading to my next question, yung professional league nga that you've been very adamant about. Do you think that would play a factor? Because for example, if players can keep playing or can support themselves by playing, don't you think that parang it would give them the opportunity to be part of the national team or to compete at a high level even as they get older? Kasi parang, for example, I for me, a lot of the players are younger because they play every day in college with training and stuff like that. But once they graduate or once they're out of college, they won't play as much kasi nga they have to have their own jobs, they have to work a day job, and they can't train as much. So do you think that the professional league might change that? Like it might keep the level of competition higher as they get older?
Yung professional league po, yun ba
Mm.
yung kina-question mo?
Yes, po.
Kasi yung kaya gusto ko magkaroon ng professional league yung table tennis. Actually, kausap ko yung Gaming Amusement Board,
Mm.
GAB. Uh, and I want, this is also my dream, magkaroon ng professional league ang table tennis to give the college graduate students to continue pursue their dream
Yeah.
in table tennis. I'm not saying all, no? Kasi unlike before, panahon namin, wala kang choice kapag tapos mo mag-graduate and you cannot go to the national team kasi nga ilan
Yeah.
lang ang national team, five lang, no? Five lang yung slot. Mas syempre, ang daming hindi makapasok dyan. Please stop. Please stop playing table tennis even
Exactly.
though they
Yeah.
are good. They are good. Kasi ang table tennis, you cannot say that you're good now, but in the long run, hindi ka na good. Ganun yun eh,
Mm.
no? So hindi mo alam na yung in the long run, yung isang not good or pinakamahina maging pinakamalakas in the long run, no? Maraming mga potential kasi tayong players in our country. Mga college players ng UAAP and NCAA and
Mm.
ng mga provinces ng mga top players. Mga yun, wala silang pupuntahan kundi kailangan nila magtrabaho sa kung anong natapos nilang profession. Even though
Yeah.
yung mga iba nga nagko-coach na lang kasi
Mm.
walang livelihood, di ba? So yun lang naman sa akin. This professional league na kung ma-achieve namin ito, this is the next kumbaga yun na yung magiging livelihood ng mga graduate students at to pursue their national team and the level of the players in our country pataas ng pataas
Mm. Yeah.
100%.
Yes, coach. Because recently, we've seen maraming naging professional league. I think over this past year, yung women's basketball may professional league na, yung volleyball, tapos parang pinaka-recent yung chess actually meron na ring professional league. So, I wanted to know parang what's the status or what do you envision in a professional league? Can we imagine it na parang may mga draft, for example, may mga different teams, tapos parang everyone can watch the game somewhere. What are you envisioning for this league?
Nag-meeting na kami. Bali, nag-meeting na kami sa GAB. Ang wala kasi ng PTTF is yung sponsor, corporate
Okay.
sponsors. So, I just told them that all we need is the corporate sponsors. We have the players. We can do a guidelines na ito lang pwedeng maging professional players.
Mm.
At mga national team hindi kasali, no? Unless they want to retire. Like
Yeah.
Richard Gonzalez, well, pag nag-retire siya, pwede siya pumunta sa
Mm.
professional league. So, yun. And the graduates, college graduate lang pwede sumali sa professional league. And yung mga Navy, siguro yung mga Army, hindi pwede. Hindi pwede kasi may
Okay.
trabaho sila. Kasi kapag pumasok ka sa professional league, kailangan you train also 8 hours a day or 6 hours a
Yeah.
day. You have to do that. And naka-bubble po kayo. Ganun yun eh. So, nakaplano na yun. Then, corporate sponsors lang po. And yung format ng tournaments, meron na po ako. Isasubmit ko na lang po yun sa GAB.
Mm.
So, kompleto na po kami.
So coach, for example, for me as a fan, yung i-expect namin may mga yung parang PBA lang, yung may mga teams na I don't know what they'll be called, pero yung mga ganang teams tapos may expect na draft, may expect na um pag wala na yung pandemic, we can go to the venue and we can watch all these teams ganun.
Yes. Bali, andun na eh. Naka-ready na rin yung studio ni Boss Ryan. Yung studio.
Hmm.
Andun na din. Andun na rin pwede manood ng mga tao. Ready na siya. Kumbaga, kailangan na lang i-submit ko siya sa GAB, licensing first.
Yeah.
Then GAB help us to find corporate sponsors. Yung ganon.
So this one is just a quick segment. I always ask this to all my guests. It's called Change Court, Change Sport. So if there's any other sport that you've ever wanted to try, what would that be?
Mm, billiards.
Billiards. Bakit billiards, coach?
Eh, kasi nakatayo lang ako. Tutumok-tumbok lang ako eh. Naka-aircon pa ako.
Uh, okay, coach. Second, in the Philippines, here in the country, who would you say is your favorite athlete, pero from a different sport?
Oh, okay. Basketball, siyempre. Si Kiefer Rivera, no? Kiefer.
Super Ravenna. Okay, coach. Before we end na lang, I guess what advice would you give to the people that want to try table tennis or the people that are new to the sport?
Oh, all I can say to the new and would like to try the table tennis. This is very fun ang sport namin and when you're involved in table tennis, you will immediately train with discipline and fast eye and body coordination. So, and if you continue to pursue the table tennis, you have a chance to become a world champion and Olympic champion. Kasi hindi kailangan ng height advantage dito. Walang ano dito. Walang tinatawag ng bata matanda dito. You can see that our oldest national team, Richard Gonzalez, is already, oh my, I cannot reveal the age, but still, bronze medal pa rin siya sa SEA Games, di ba?
Yeah.
So, makikita mo talaga na itong sport na to, panghabang buhay ito hanggat sa
Mhm.
kaya mo. And less injury dito sa sport namin. Very chamba pag na-injured ka dito, chamba yan. Kaya sa akin is dito ka na sa sport namin. Protektado ka na, healthy ka pa. Yan.
All right. So once again, everyone, that was Coach Ting Ledesma. Coach Ting, thank you so much for making time.
Thank you. Jigo, thank you. We miss you, ha?
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Sports Season podcast. Please do not be afraid to comment down below what other sports you'd like to learn more about and who else or who the other athletes you'd like to see and hear from here on the podcast. Thanks again. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next episode.